I think we're ready to start our meeting.
Here
Hope
we
you've
go.
had a good time socializing and having some good food. We had some great apple cakes. That was really nice for the fall season. Anyway, I'd like to call to order the meeting for the October 16th meeting of the Crooked Creek Art League. And welcome everyone here. Looks like we have a full house again, which is great to see. I want to let you know that we've got a little bit of a change in our plans tonight. In case you haven't read your latest email, we were scheduled to have Michael Story be with us tonight, but unfortunately he had a little accident yesterday and took a tumble. He's okay. He might have some bruised ribs, but he's doing okay. But it was pretty clear that he was not going to be able to stand up here and give his presentation and speak to us. So he called his good friend, Mark Conrardy, and he stepped in at the very last minute. So he's here ready to speak to us. So we want to thank Mark for being here. So he's going to give a presentation in a little bit on perspectives and grids. So we just really appreciate you being able to step in at the very last minute. So thanks to everyone too who brought refreshments for us tonight. And what we're going to do is also pass around a sign-up sheet for next month's refreshments. So if you can sign up, because you know we all like to eat. So let's all pitch in and help with bringing refreshments. Do we have any new members here with us tonight? Maybe if we could stand and introduce ourselves and maybe tell a little bit like what you enjoy as far as painting or photography, what's your specialty? Okay, welcome to everybody here. Glad to have a great turnout again. I just have a few more announcements before we turn it over to Mark. I just want to remind you again, if you haven't renewed your membership, please go online, renew your membership. Also, we have a sheet over here at the table. As you're checking out online to see, you know, the membership list, make sure your email, your phone number, address, everything is correct, because it's hard to send out emails and correspondence if we don't have your correct information. So please check that we have that so we can get correspondence to you. Also, please keep checking the website for the latest news and information regarding exhibitions and workshops. The prospectus for the annual juried show is now posted, so that will help you plan ahead. Please take note of all the key dates and add them to your calendar now so you don't, so it doesn't creep up on you. Registration for the show will be opening Monday, January 22nd. The artwork delivery date is Saturday, February 24th, and the show reception will be held on Saturday, March 23rd. Again, all that information's online, so check it out, get it written on your calendars so it doesn't come up suddenly. Make sure you read through the prospectus carefully, though, because a few things have changed this year, including it's going to be an online registration only. You won't be able to come and just drop off your stuff on drop-in day. So make sure you check that out. Yes? Yes, the new members need to attend 3 meetings before they can register their piece. So you've got plenty of time to do that starting now. So make sure you meet that requirement of three meetings. Also, registration for Still Hopes exhibition still continues until November 21st, but that's only until we receive 50 pieces. They can only have a 50-piece limit. So make sure you go online, check out all the dates for that, start preparing your artwork and get registered. Because if we reach the 50 limit piece first, then we won't be waiting till November 21st. Again, all the key dates are online, so don't wait for the last minute. Our next workshop will be held November 10th and 11th. My mic working? Okay. Next workshop is held November 10th and 11th. And that workshop will be by Vic Schuler. He presented to us last month, and that was great. Vic, did you have anything else to say on that, or? Okay, thank you, Vic. So remember to go online to sign up for Vic's workshop. That'll be in November. And also, I want to thank everybody for those of you who responded to our member survey that we put out recently. We got several responses and got a lot of good feedback. So that helps us in our planning for our yearly things, and just helps us with what we do for the league. So if you didn't get a chance to give us your suggestions during the member survey, remember you can always just contact us during the year and say, I have an idea. And we're always, ready to listen to you and see what we can do for you for the league. The Chapin Fall Arts Festival that was scheduled to be held last Saturday was canceled due to the weather, unfortunately. But I'd like to thank and acknowledge those who had volunteered to help with the festival but didn't get to. That would be Sandra Oliver, Maureen Carter, Barbara Tusink, Ruby Deloach, Letha Nicholson, and Kathy Schwalm. And also T.C. Bowers was donating his tents for the festival. So sorry that didn't happen, but maybe next year. But we appreciate you guys and what you were going to volunteer to do. The next item I want to address is the board of directors is ready to bring to the membership its final recommendation of the revised constitution. We've made some final minor changes and clarifications of typos and such since the last document was sent out to the membership. So you'll be receiving a final copy by email sometime probably in the next couple weeks. And voting on the revisions will take place at our November 20th meeting. So if you have any other questions, please let us know before our next meeting. But please plan to be here in November and we'll vote on those revisions. And finally, if you're looking for something to do this week, head down to the South Carolina State Fair. Check out all the great artwork and photography in the Fine Arts Building. Many of our members have their artwork on display this year. And I'd like to give a big shout out to several members who took home winning honors. Gretchen Parker took Best in Division, Professional 2D. Terry Carter, second place, Professional 2D. Lisa Alberghini, Merit Award, Professional 2D. Vic Schuler, Merit Award, Professional 2D. Olga Yukno, first place and a third place in Professional 3D. Harold Blackwood, first place, Professional Photography. And Lainey McWilliams, second place, Amateur Aqua Painting. Let's congratulate all these winners. And if you are one of those winners, if you'll please send a photo of your winning piece to Sandra Oliver so she can include it in the blog post, that would be great. Kay Stallings, you have just a quick announcement on regarding sponsorships. All right, and before Lainey comes to introduce our speaker, I'd like Barbara to talk to us for just a minute about some exciting news about our new CCAL Facebook group.
So real quick, one of the things that was deemed most important in all the responses we got in the member survey was more networking opportunities to get to know each other and interact with each other, which makes great sense. Two things have coincided that resulted in this. One, we've had somebody who's been doing our email push for the league for many, many, many years, and we're very grateful to her, but she's stepping back from that because of some things going on in her life. So we've got somebody new, Jan Lane, who is somewhere in the room. There she is. Who's going to take over sending all of that out. And we're going to start using MailChimp to do it. So you might have seen an email come out tonight. I know it just says it should say CCAL. We'll fix that. But because we're figuring MailChimp out. But what it talked about was we have set up a new group on Facebook under our page. So Crooked Creek Art League has a page, which is a place where we can send information out to everyone, but it doesn't really give you a good chance to interact with each other. A group within that page lets you talk to each other. Say, hey, I'm doing this. Anybody want to go there? Does anybody know how to solve this? Whatever. I won something last week. It lets you talk to each other about any and all of those things. It will be for members only. It's for sharing and collaboration, not for sales to each other, just for sharing with each other. So I hope you'll consider signing up. I know not everybody uses Facebook, but if you do, it's a great way to connect on a little bit more frequent basis than our meetings once a month. Okay.
Thanks, Barbara. Okay, I think that's all I have for announcements right now. So Lainey, you want to come and introduce our speaker?
I would love to. Thanks again, Mark, so much for filling in for Michael and being so willing to just drop what you were doing last night when I called you and say, okay, yeah, we'll do this. We'll get it done. Mark is originally from Kansas. He's a graphic artist, illustrator with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources. He's the winner of multiple awards and shows sponsored by the South Carolina State Fair and the Trenum Arts Guild. Conrardy has original paintings on display at City Art Gallery in Columbia, South Carolina. If you haven't been there, go check them out. Downstairs, they have a really nice art supply store, so go check them out. He's also at the in the gallery at National Agricultural Center in Banner Springs, Kansas. Right? Bonner Springs, Kansas. Gallery representation includes Eva Reynolds Gallery in Overland Park, Kansas. His giclée prints of the Biltmore South entrance are featured at the Biltmore Gatehouse gift shop in Asheville, North Carolina. Mark is a member of Oil Painters of America. Some of his popular themes include agriculture, architecture, sports, and music, many of which are captured on plein air. Conrardy also teaches art classes at City Art Gallery, which is where I met him. When I started my journey back into art after the last time I had done much was high school. So it was a very long hiatus from art. And his was the first class I took in drawing, and it was very helpful. So thank you, Mark, and welcome.
Yeah. Sounds like we got it here. So, no, Mike, I talked to Mike Story yesterday while I was watching football, and he said he was hurting. So we I kind of thought he probably wouldn't be ready for today, and he that's what he was going with. So, but appreciate you inviting me. I still had my car packed from the Trenum Artist Guild last Monday, so I hadn't even moved anything out of the car yet. So the timing was actually pretty good. So, but what I'll talk about tonight are things I use quite often, which are grids and perspective. Now, grids have been around, and grids and perspective have been around. I don't know how many. The old masters used to use these techniques. So it's nothing new, and it's not cheating. It's just a way of using your art skills to make a painting or a drawing. So, but what we'll start with is this is something I do in my class. But we'll start with portraiture. If how many people do portraiture? A few of them? Okay, good. And I like portraiture too, and it's it's if you do it kind of systematically in a certain way every time, it shortens up your time of thinking and just helps the process. So does everybody know that the face is about 5 eye widths wide? Have you heard of that? So it's 5 eye widths wide and 7 eye widths tall. So what I have here, I got 3 here right now, and I'll put a 5th over here and another one over here. Now, to get that 7 eye widths tall, that means there's 3 above this area and 3 below this area. So I'm going to turn an eye width. Instead of this way, I'm going to turn it that way. Now I do this in my perspective drawings and that kind of thing as well. So this is just a way to make sure everything's measures correctly. So, but so I got a half a unit up is the eyebrow, and 1.5 units down is the bottom of the nose. Another unit down is the mouth. Another unit down is the chin. Now we got the same type of thing up here. It's a little not quite as easy to figure out, but let's see. 1, 2, 3. So that's the area that I'm working with. Now the brain is right in this area. Does that make sense? Okay. And getting the eyes in here like this. I was in architecture for many years, and one of my first drawing instructors was Russian, and he encouraged me to just keep my straight line drawing, and that was the best thing anybody could have told me, because if you can draw a straight line, you can curve that line different directions. Does that make sense? And then you're not making stuff up quite as much. So you can start relying on your brain to, well, that looks like it's an inch or 2 inches. But so that helped me a ton. I'm also a part of the About Face group. And we meet over at the 701 Whaley, that building right there, and down near the stadium. So we'd meet over there on Tuesday nights. So anybody's welcome to come join us on the 2nd and 4th Tuesdays. We also do a plein air on the third Saturday as well. So, but let's see. So we got the face here, 5 eye widths wide, and we're gonna put the nose in here like that. And there is this brow part of the eye, right around the eye. Go ahead and turn that upside down. Does that make sense? So that's kind of the structure of most people. Now, what we'll be doing is you can, when you're actually doing a portrait of somebody, well, you'll end up drawing this. You could end up drawing this, but you'll push it over 1/8 of an inch, or things just a little different, different directions. So, okay, the mouth is typically from pupil to pupil, the black of the eye. So that's the width, and it works out pretty good if you darken the corners of the mouth, and maybe that. So you can kind of draw things this way and have that bottom lip down like that. Okay, here we got the little U shape right underneath the nose, and it's going to be a serpentine type shape. Everybody see that? And then you can kind of work from there, and you start working. The top of the nostril is darker, and then the lower part where there's actually skin, where you actually kind of see, you can kind of fuzz that out, and it starts looking more realistic. But the biggest thing is to have that top part dark, these corners of the mouth dark, and then the black of the eye dark. Now it starts looking more believable. Let's go ahead and put a cheek in here and a cheek in here, and so we got something similar to this. Okay, the ears. We're going to go to the top of the brow to the bottom of the nose. Now this is different for male, female, different people are different. But this is just a starting point. What you can do is once you find out, well, depending on the angle, if a person's looking down, it's going to be a little different. If a person's looking up, it's going to be a little different. So you can, this is just kind of a starting point where you can start moving it down a little bit here and there. And then you'll start getting the character of the person that you are actually trying to paint or draw. Does that make sense? So any questions? Okay. So so the eyes, the black of the eyes, where is it in relationship with the height? Is it halfway? Exactly. It's pretty close to halfway. So this is half, that's half. A lot of people foreshorten the top of the forehead. So just remember when you're doing this is to go ahead and leave enough forehead. And you see that even a lot of good illustrators will purposely make it look like there's less forehead. But if you're trying to make it look more like that person, just check that out and make sure you're doing that correctly. So, and let's see, if there was light coming from this way, that means I would have some darkness underneath the eyebrow there, and darkness on this side of the nose. Put this little U shape in here. There'd be a little bit of darkness here. And what you'll see is a little bit of triangular light source right there. A lot of times there's a little bit of a light source that you want to go ahead and keep that light source. The top of the lip is typically darker than the bottom of the lip. And depending on the person, you know, the size of the lips vary from person to person. So anyway, that kind of gets you a starting point. This is what we do at About Face on Tuesday nights. We do portraiture, the first part, and then we have a live nude model on the second part. So it's good to learn how to draw the body and paint the body as artists. So it's a good experience. So you learn how to draw this little bone right here. What is this? Clavicle. I mean, when you start drawing it, it just makes everything kind of fall in place. So, but I would encourage you to get involved in that kind of group. So, okay, the next thing we'll talk about. Okay, what I typically do is I use what I do know to get what I don't know. I know that sounds kind of weird right now at first, but let's see. We'll start going over a few little items with perspective. If I'm doing a marsh scene, I have a horizon line, right? I might have water coming from here. And I want to do a switchback. I want that water to keep switching back and forth. It's not a situation where I'm just doing a curve. Does that make sense? Because those never look realistic. But if you can get this kind of switchback, there's certain parts of that stream that are straight. Remember that thing of drawing in straight line segments? That's perfect for this. So that's a biggie right there. So you can actually kind of create go ahead and create your own little, what's that? Oh, okay. So you can actually kind of create a little scene right here with islands back here. Now, people have problems with elevation sometimes too. Sometimes if they put a bird in here, they'll make it too big and everything kind of doesn't look quite right. But make sure you get your horizon line in there. And even if I was looking at a bird at their eye, the bird's eye level, and at my eye level, that bird's eye would be right on the horizon line. So it's in relationship to your eye level to the horizon line. So remember that let's see, this rowing piece here. Yeah. Notice excuse me. Is it okay if I walk over here? Is that going to mess anything up? But notice here's my horizon line. And I was actually standing a little above. So if I was standing at the same eye level as this guy, his eye level would be right there. So just something to consider when you're trying to make things look realistic. So anyway, okay. Gervais Street Bridge. How many people have been tempted to draw the Gervais Street Bridge? Okay. Okay, this is when we really start getting into perspective. And let's see. I start with the horizon line and I divide my page up into thirds this way. So I got a line that way, that way. I've divided up into thirds this way. There. Those are equal. So, and let's erase that horizon line for the moment. So this is what I start with in my composition typically. And the hot spots for making the composition look like it's dead on. You ever get that feeling when you're moving photographs around? That, oh, that's I gotta leave it right there. We've got some photographers here. So, but what I typically do, and I read this in a book somewhere, a book I got from Charleston, is to try to put the hot spot right on the inside of that third section. And that, to me, that kind of feels comfortable. Now you can, if that doesn't work for you, but it does work for me, and I read it in a book somewhere. So, but let's see. What's that? No, I didn't know that. I knew the rule of thirds, but I didn't know that little sweet spot. There you go. Ruby? Yeah, Ruby knows about the sweet spot. So, okay, let's do a 2-point perspective. You remember in the movie Forrest Gump where he's running down the highway and you look off in the distance and there's a straight line of the road over here and a straight line over on both sides, and they just look like you're going to one point. And that's called a 1-point perspective. When you can see off in the distance and the parallel lines are converging to one point. Now, if he was out in the desert and there was a road going 90 degrees to that way, well, you'd have the same thing over here. And that creates a 2-point perspective. One going that way, one going that way, and then you start creating what you want in the middle. Okay. Let's see. Let's start with the horizon line. And I call this kind of like a drawing a kite. And this is good for doing a painting of the Gervais Street Bridge, Charleston porches, those kind of things. So what would I do as an artist? Where would I put a line here? Well, I would put it over here to make this look like a square, total square. It would be something right about here. I might even make it a little bit smaller. I might even make it so that looks like a square in perspective. The same type of thing over here. So basically you have a cube. Everybody see the cube? Okay, so if let's see, there's some different things you can do with this cube. You can put an X in the middle of it. And from that point right there, this much equals that much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line to the vanishing point. And I'm going to go from the top of this column over to the middle of this column to create the next column. Does everybody see that? Then what I do is I switch my points. I switch this point and this point over to here. There. I switch this point and this point to here and here. There we go. And we'll do it one more time. Switch over here. And the first few times you do this, it just, you know, doesn't seem right, but it works out. It works out perfectly, I think. So, so what I'm trying to create is the, well, you know, this could be a bridge. This little point right here in the center, if I go straight up, my arch for that bridge is going to be right in the middle. Make sense? Let's do the same thing here. Let's put it right in the middle, right here. Now, at this point, once I get that point set, I can draw a line back to the vanishing point and set all of my curves. Is that pretty cool? So, now this could be the Gervais Street Bridge. I've seen some porches that look like this too, with the wood railing and arbor. And this is one of the things that I just finished doing with my plein air painting class this summer, is doing a painting of the Gervais Street Bridge. So, but that's the kind of the technique for that kind of perspective. Let's see. Let's get into colors. Let's see. I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but I'm glad you brought that up. This is a point over here and a point over here. So that's 2-point perspective. Now, if you wanted to create a 3-point perspective, you can actually put a sunlight source up here and see where things kind of okay. But it's a good thing to just, and it takes repetition. It really does. I mean, when I was in architecture, you know, I never didn't know it as well as I do now, but I just keep teaching it and teaching it and teaching it, and it kind of becomes second nature now. So yeah, thanks. But this could be, the side of a house. If let's see, let's go 3 units back. So okay, there's an X over here, and I'm going to draw a line over here. That's halfway here to here. I'm going to go and create another line there. I'm going to switch those lines and move them from here to there. Halfway for that house, the house is something like that. So I'm going to, draw the roof line like this up here. I'm roughing it out. So if this is a porch, I'm going to have a line that's going from here. Now, parallel lines converge where? At the vanishing point. So that's going clear to that vanishing point. And you can see where, that vanishing point's over here. So you can kind of see where, and I'm halving that. Okay, this is really cool too. When you do planks, anybody have problems putting railing or planks and making them look correct and even, and one isn't too skinny and one isn't too fat? This is a way to solve that. You go ahead and draw the square right here, and you put the X in the middle, and you create planks. That plank there. So that's equal to that. Okay, then we do the same thing here. This area here, we put another plank in the middle. So there. Let's put another plank here in the middle. I know this gets a little wordy. Hopefully you can follow what I'm doing here. But see, I created 1, 2, 3, 4 planks that are equal in size visually. So I'm not getting, differences in size. Now, for me, I would even want to go down one more. And here on this last one, you can probably fake it. So it starts looking like the floor of a porch. Same type of thing here. I keep going to this vanishing point here. Same vanishing point. Get back to the end of the building here. At this top here, I'm going to go all the way to there. So what I've created is the end of a building where you might have have trees coming through or that kind of thing. Might have something sticking out like that. So does that all kind of make sense? If I wanted to put a door in the middle of this, what perspective does is help you know enough about it that you can start faking it a little bit. And that's always kind of nice to be able to do and create something that's close, but you're not working yourself to death over it. So anyway, there's windows behind that column and that column. So anyway, let's see. So any questions about anything right now? Is it too monotonous or Now that's more like a 1-point perspective because notice that, okay, here, let's see if I can. Whoop. Hope I can hold it. Oh, there it is. Duh. Yeah, there we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, let me get back in here a little bit. Okay, again, parallel lines converge to the vanishing point. So this line is coming here to the vanishing point. That side of the boat is coming to the side to the same vanishing point. The other side of the boat is narrowing down as it comes away over here. Does that make sense? Okay, the other thing is the height of the people. To make it look realistic, you want to get the height of this first person and project it back here. I don't want that person to be this tall because it's not going to look realistic. I want that person to maybe be about the same height. And that helps everything line up. If you really want to get into it, is that shoulder is close to that shoulder, is close to that shoulder, is close to that shoulder. So you're projecting parallel things back into space. So yeah, that's a good example of it's actually officially a 2-point perspective, but it's so flat right here, it becomes more like a 1-point perspective. So any other questions? Let's see if I can get out here. Oops. Thank you. Thanks for catching that. I didn't even see that happening. Okay, thank you. Got the same type of thing over here with these buildings. This is, you know, you make cubes and just project things. What you do is put an X in the middle of this. And there, that's where the hole is, right? Do that again. This half, and that might be where our door opening is. So you can kind of use that little trick to help you put things in the right place so it doesn't look incorrect. See, notice how these windows are larger here than they go to smaller. Yeah, we're doing the same thing there with like we were with the columns. So let's see. I like the plein air paint. So let's see. This is a print of the. Anybody recognize that building? Newbury Opera House. Good. I'm glad it looks like. But okay, I'm glad it looks like what it's supposed to. That I did this painting in the spring, and the original is about 3 foot tall and 2 foot wide. So this is about half size. But you know, I'm doing the same thing with this. I create one line of true scale. There's one line of true scale, and it might be that corner right there. And then I kind of project, do little measurements. I'm out there on the site, looking at the paint, looking at the building, open one eye, and well, that, you know, this is equal to that, is equal to that, is equal to that. Those are the kind of things you're looking for. You also turn it 90 degrees, like what we did with the faces, turn it 90 degrees. And then you can kind of figure out, well, where does that wall end? Well, it's, maybe 1 unit that way. There's another unit. So you start making up your own units, and then you can start figuring, you know, what makes it look right. Notice that this line and this line come way out here for a vanishing point on this side. Notice the things up here are going to this vanishing point way out here in space. So you can kind of think of those lines when you want to make sure it's looking correct. That you can double check yourself that way. These two paintings I did last weekend at can anybody tell me where these are? In Camden, the Camden, yeah, the Camden clock tower there. And I took the height of this, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't getting too close. So I put a little line across there, and then I put a little line across here. Then I start dividing things up, going that way. And again, I turn things 90 degrees, and I can start making measurements visually that way. So it takes a little bit of practice doing, but at least you know that you're getting what you want, you know. Any other questions? This building here is the Kauffman Center in Kansas City, and that was a pretty good challenge. This was 2 foot tall and 4 foot wide, the original. So, and I could not get them to put these in their gift shop. So, so he said, not at this time. So what I need to do is submit it somewhere else and make sure he sees it somewhere else. So, yeah, let's see. How we doing on time? Doing good? Okay. Okay. 15 minutes? Okay. Okay. Let's see. Let's talk about color a little bit. Does anybody know what vibrating boundaries are? No? Okay. I'm glad I took this class in college, because vibrating boundaries are the colors that are across from each other. You got yellow up here, and let's see, red over here and blue over here, right? So you create vibrating boundaries when you go straight across to the complementary. So purple and yellow, you can kind of see that the edge where they meet, it's really kind of hot. It's so that's purple. Orange is over here, and over here we got green. So that's something to be careful about. You don't want it to be so vibrant, bright that it's hard to look at. So that's when I typically will make sure that, you know, if I have one color that I want to make sure is yellow, that purple is not going to be a true bright yellow. It'll be more muted. It'll be more in this range on the color wheel. So we got the color wheel here. What two colors create green? Yellow and blue. Okay. What color do I get when I connect those two together? I don't get a bright green. I get a muted green. So remember that if you want a bright green, just get it out of the tube. Here's a real bright green. Yes. Yep. Yeah, kind of. Okay. Am I there? Okay, great. But yeah, this, you know, there are certain colors that I pick straight out of the tube. and and when I paint, I'm not worried about mixing. That's one thing that saves me a lot of time. Because the Newberry Opera House, I did that in about 4 hours, 3 foot by 4 foot. No, 2 foot by 3 foot. Yeah, 2 foot by 3 foot. So it allows you to paint faster. And when you're not having to think about the different color mixing. Now, what you can do is go ahead and mix the colors when you get them on the painting. I like a lot of transparent colors because you get some interesting mixes of color. And that kind of helps create some interest. When the purple over here looks similar to the purple over here, or you get some color cross-referencing. The blue up in the sky looks similar to the shadow in the building, those kind of things. So, but that's that's something I'm still I really enjoy learning about these kind of things, and I'm sure I could learn more. But when you just be careful when you put colors across from each other. When you get a red next to a green, you're going to have Christmas, So if you want it to be not quite as Christmassy, you need to you need to add darkness to one of the two colors, or lightness to one of the two colors. That helps immensely. So let's see. One thing I do is the more I have been thinking about this is let's go back to the thirds, rule of thirds. When I want something to be the focal point of the object, I put it either in one of these corners, right? Now I also think about the color. I want that color to probably be vibrant in those areas because that'll attract the viewer. That makes sense? So you might end up, let's see, in that painting over there. See the red, kind of orange red in the hay bales? That was kind of my focal area right there, along with the back build. Yeah, thank you. But and I was just thinking about that today. Look at the blues and the oranges are across from each other. And I was trying to figure out, well, why did I use that blue, bright blue in those shadows? I know it doesn't look that way, but it looks pretty. It works. That vibrant blue, and you can kind of see that in tree leaves sometimes, where you're kind of getting the glow of the sky above, that kind of thing. So that's what I was trying to capture with this painting. And then you got your greens and your yellow green right in here. So it's fun to mix things up and try to figure it out. Sometimes you don't always know why you choose a certain color, but it looks right. So trust your instinct on that, because there's a reason why it looks right. Okay. So let's see. Can somebody hand that to me? that piece of paper there. Thank you. Let me see if I can go make sure I catch everything here. Okay. Let's talk about trees. Do people have problems drawing trees and trying to figure out what you want to do with your trees? Back in architecture school, they used to do something called lollipop trees. So you would have a large tree here, and it would look like something like that. Then it would overlap a little bit. The one behind it would. So then you would get perspective in this, and you'd start, doing something like that. And What I noticed with those type of, this is kind of simplistic, but the warm side of the tree is going to have more of a yellow tint to it. So the main part of the tree, you can paint those green, regular green, permanent, standard green. But over here, you can do that with a little more, put yellow underneath it, above it. You put yellow above it. Here, you can put blue. So go on the other side of the color wheel. You're putting blue here and yellow here. And somebody asked me, well, that's not how a tree looks. What do I do? So, well, the trees don't look that way, but if you start making little shapes around that tree, and you know how branches kind of are sticking out at you, and you might see a warm side of that branch. You might see yellow there. So it kind of, the trees are not round. So, but you can kind of shape your trees when you're there plein air painting or just making a painting. You can decide what shape you want that tree. Even right here, you can have a little bit of yellow on this side. You can have a little bit of blue on this side. So you can kind of systematically go through that and create an interesting shape for a tree. Something like that. And just do the same thing for all those, every single one of those. Let's see. Dimensions versus flat. Okay. The painting with the barn in it. You notice how dimensional that looks. Notice how dimensional this looks with the perspective. And so you can kind of have contrasting elements based on contrasting flat against dimension. One of my favorite paintings of all time probably is The Kiss from Gustav. Yeah. Clements. Yeah. And I saw that painting and said, wow, that is really cool. You got all these, jewels and fabric and depicted in the garment. And then you had these two faces kissing each other. So there was, and there was something about that helped me think about, well, the rest of the painting looks pretty flat, but you were able to get away with it because those two faces were so dimensional. So anyway, let's see. I think yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love your little watercolor looking trees over there.
Yeah, thanks. And those are the ones I did just recently. Yeah, those were fun little trees. Those were plein air paintings. So just get the warmth on the warm side of the tree and the blue on the cool side of the tree, and it kind of pulls it all together. So, but yes. Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. I took Mike Story's class years ago, and there's a lot of red underwashes with the red cad light. And he started doing something where he put acrylic underneath, the very first thing. Just put red cad light acrylic throughout the whole painting. Can you see up in the sky you see the red peeking out there? So that it becomes kind of a unifying factor. So it just kind of helps tie the whole painting together that way. So anybody ever hear of a guy named Mark English, famous illustrator? He was really good at making things look dimensional in one place and more graphic, more flat in other places. So I've followed his work for many years. So he's worth looking up. He passed away a couple of years ago, but his work's pretty phenomenal too. So, but I think that's about it. Any questions from anybody or?
Arbitrary color. And how do you know when you're gonna let that cad red show through? When you did the Opera House with all the bright oranges, pretty much all the way across, you already thought about that before you started.
Yeah, can somebody, that painting that's sitting on the, can somebody hand that to me? Yeah. Yes, that one. Yeah. This is the thank you. So I painted this whole board red cad light. I paint on birch panel typically. And you know, the original is, you know, 2 foot by 3 foot. So it's, you know, it's pretty good size painting. But well, I'm sorry, what was your question? What's that? Where to leave the red? It's really weird. You start painting and there's something in your head that says, oh, leave that alone, you know. I mean, look at this little area up here. I mean, I left that alone for a reason. I don't know why, but it's painting can be intuitive. You don't always necessarily see all that red that's peeking through. You can actually see the brush strokes that I took all the way through, but it just kind of adds something to it. And I like painting in transparent colors, so it kind of helps tie everything together that way. So.
Are you familiar with Carl Dalio in Colorado?
What's that?
Are you familiar with Carl Dalio? He's you look a lot like his work, although he uses acrylic and pastel.
Oh, does he?
Arbitrary.
Yeah.
Work.
I took classes, watercolor classes from Ann Patterson for about 5 years. Anybody know Ann? This is kind of her home base now, isn't it? So, but no, she helped me a lot in getting involved in different competitions. She encouraged all of us to submit things to the state fair. That'd be a good thing for everybody to do. And so what you can do is see what other people are seeing when they see your work. Then you could tweak things here and there based on that. So you kind of learn by seeing your work presented. So. It depends on what color are you using. Red on the background, depending, you can kind of see the colors that look analogous. Now, analogous colors are the colors that are right next to the one that you're using. So this red, a shadow for red would be purple. See that purple shadow over here? So if you put them, if you you know, think of the sun hitting this warm side of the building and that's warm side of the building, and that's the cool side of the building. It's going to be, you know, more on the blue side, which would be purple, right? So. Just paint. Just if you have a yellow boat, the paints are transparent. Yes. Oh, yes. Yes. That's a good point. If you can add liquid and terpenoid together, and that'll help the colors be a little more transparent. Gamsol and Gilkid out of the tube. This stuff. That's a good thing to use. So, yes, you're creating glazes, right? So you can, because what you want to do is you want to see the color behind it. You want to, put color down, but you might want to put some more color on top of it, and just keep adding to it. Ann Patterson was really good into glazes if you, yeah, with her classes. So, what's that? Did they? My education in that area with the old masters isn't what it could be, but yeah. Yeah, I can. You can do the same thing with the and the cheeks might be a little more yellow on where it's hitting more light, a little more purple on the. Now, what I try to keep from doing is going straight across the color wheel, because that's when you can get some conflicts. My paintings look more harmonious and together when I use analogous colors that are close to the, my building is kind of tan, reddish tan. I might use a little bit more red in that part of the shadow, that kind of thing. So I don't know. Mike told me to do it. So, but there's a lot of painters that use, they use like a brown. There's a brown red that that's real popular. I mean, it seemed to be working for me, so I didn't stop doing it, so just kept running with it. It's at City Art, and sometimes I teach plein air. It's getting to the cooler season, so the indoor classes will be. So we'll be going over in those classes. We would be going over portraiture and still life and architecture, those kind of things. It's all one class. I do a little bit of I draw. I draw with paintbrushes. I mean, I don't differentiate one from the other. So, and that helps me. Just whatever works for you. If I.
Life drawing with paintbrushes too?
I typically I'll use the charcoal for that, because that's a little more of a challenge. Depending on how much time I have, I might go ahead and put some colors out and do a life drawing like that as well. So anybody else? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
We have to be out of here at 8. So, but, get closer so people can see me. So, I want to remind you that you can come up and see Mark's work a little closer afterwards. And then he'll be around for a little bit before he has to pack up, so you can ask him questions. City Art is downtown. So if you need to know more about that, you can look it up, just look up their website, and it'll give you their classes and stuff. Mark, if you can help me, we're going to have some door prizes. Oh, I was going to say, you did an actual drawing class when I took.
Yes.
It was just drawing, because I know I did everything in charcoal and pencil. That was years ago.
With the
Paintbrush yet? Okay. Well, it was great.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 3 door prize
Okay.
to do. So I want to have you pick a number between 1 and 54.
46.
Okay. Yvonne Beyer.
Oh, the president?
The president.
Okay.
There you Okay, and another number, please.
32.
32. Kathy Gardner. Kathy, are you an artist or a photographer artist or okay. Then I will have you do this one. Okay, and one more.
I need to do it. Is there just one more?
One more.
Okay. 64.
Oops, just to 54. So not quite that high.
12.
Bebe Way. Thank you. And Yvonne, is there anything else?
Everybody in the audience is saying thank you for your work.
Yeah.
Yes, and guys, I want to, besides saying thank you to Mark, I want to say thank you to Tyler. He did a lot of work. He had set up everything for Michael's stories, and so he had to scramble as well to get this in one day. So we really appreciate that. Okay, yeah, if you didn't get the sign up sheet for the refreshments, if it didn't come your way, we'll put it on the back table. Please help us out. Okay, and Yvonne, you have anything else?
No, basically, and I was gonna thank you again
Yeah.
for coming, especially on such short
Yeah,
notice.
no problem. I plan on retiring here shortly in January, so hopefully I get to paint.
Wow.
There we
Okay.
go.
Thanks.
Thank Tyler too.
Yeah.
You've been doing
thank
a
you.
wonderful job. We appreciate everything.
Yes. All right. Dismissed.